Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, a sneaky, low-level way of covering your garbage is to point out someone else's garbage. Perceived garbage, lied garbage, or real garbage. So this is what United Kingdom does with Russia in this case, I think. That is, it points out to something that the Russians are doing to their children when they, the United Kingdom, destroys its soul. That is, indoctrinating its children with idiotic ideologies, regimenting them that will destroy their own nation. If we consider United Kingdom, Great Britain, a nation made out of different people. So, what do we have here? We have the United Kingdom's intelligence reporting that Russia is militarizing and brainwashing youth through education system. Okay, well, is it true? And if it's true, will it benefit Russia or United Kingdom? Is it supposed to benefit Russia or is it supposed to benefit United Kingdom? That's the first one. Secondly, who are you? All right, you say I'm bad. Let's see if you're good. So therefore, we're going to look at United Kingdom's brainwashing its generations, future generations, with their ideologies of self-hatred and non-patriotism, woke culture. Get everybody in. You destroyed the soul of your nation, Great Britain, and you don't want anybody else to do the same thing as you did? No, that's exactly what you want. Why? Because the guys in charge of you tell you so. So this is the first topic. The second topic is the Russians show something to the whole world that we already know. There are some Nazi symbols in some boot camp for kids in Ukraine. And I will show you a picture of that. So in the same time when the Brits intelligence points out to the other person's house and claims that, oh, they're militarizing and indoctrinating, and you're doing the same thing, I think, in a perverted ideology, you don't call out the Ukrainians. Why? Because you are just selectively. All right, let's start with the first article. This comes from Ukrainska Pravda. UK intelligence reports Russia is militarizing and brainwashing youth through education system. My question is, who doesn't do that? Each and every government will indoctrinate, will use brainwashing, militarizing, maybe not, that's a little aspect, but each and every government is going to, through the public system, will make the future generations the way they want them to think. Like for now, let's talk about United States of America. United States of America, the children are indoctrinated to be afraid of the real thing called global warming. All right? So when and they tell them global warming is a real threat, it is the primary danger on this planet. Those kids will grow and they will go in they will get different jobs. And some of them will become leaders in the communities. And they will be already indoctrinated with that thing since childhood. Therefore, they will be very sympathetic to push forward this ideology. Global warming, clean energy, which I am all for clean energy, but don't wane away the real energy, which is supporting our civilization. Without it, we go back to cages. It cannot sustain us. That's for me right now. Unless you build, I don't know, next to one another windmills and wait for the wind to blow and the sun to shine. That's one. So again, it's the governments always indoctrinate their children, the future generation, the next generation. Why? To keep control, to shape a direction. So when these guys in the UK claim Russia is brainwashing youth, is not doing anything other than you're doing. You're brainwashing your children with pink head, snipped balls, identity, and all that, including self-hatred. This is another thing. When a country, when a nation loses its soul, it's lost. You can do whatever you want with it. You can tell them now you're a baboon, tomorrow you're a bottom feeder, tomorrow you are whatever you are. They can tell you because you don't know who the hell you are. That's exactly what the lovers of our civilization are doing with our nations. Only in the West. It's very surprising? Not at all. So, militarizing. Well, I don't think that's a bad thing to have the future generations grow some balls instead of playing with dolls all the time. So you're indoctrinating these guys to accept, I can identify and I have some drag queen shows for my children and the children will enjoy it, okay? And I will develop a certain kind of individual, more sophisticated than the Russian, mind you. And the Russian is gonna say no, the love for your motherland, you're a Russian and here is your country. Those guys hate you, you gotta defend. How are you gonna defend? Not with this and not with the dolls or I don't know, peeing on them or something like that that you see in some instances in the West. So they have a different ideology and they're pushing towards their kids. You, on the other hand, push yours. We'll see who wins. All right? So that's the first one. And in the same time, instead of the Brits' intelligence being concerned with other things like this, they are concerned with the Russian youth. Here you go. Who wins the children wins the future. German state media shows Nazi insignia in Ukrainian boot camp for kids. This is 20th of April. What a coincidence. Happy birthday to someone or something? Coming from the Ukrainians. A broadcast from a military camp for children. Hopa! This military camp for children and the UK intelligence reports Russia is militarizing in school. Okay. Featured a child wearing an imperial eagle patch. German state broadcaster Deutsche Welle, DW, spotted a Nazi insignia while reporting from what it claimed to be a secret military camp for children in Ukraine. Who's sponsoring that? Probably the Brits as well. Willingly? No, the government decided. So this is good for these guys, but it's bad for that one, for the other guys. So that is selective justice. Why? Because governments have interests. Unfortunately, it's bad when your governments are not looking for your interests. Do I think the Russian government is looking for the Russians' interest? I think much more than in the West. Western governments looking for their nation's interest. And I will give you Great Britain, no. Germany, no. France, no. Just to mention this. And it's enough. I'm not going to... Romania, Poland, Baltic states, Czech Republic. No, these countries are not looking, their leaders are not looking for their nation's national interest. Why? Why would you want to buy a product that's more expensive, like natural gas, from someone is selling you premium price, 3 to 4 or 5 times more because you don't like the other guys, instead of buying cheaper? And then your population's standard of living will decrease. So who loves the country? For what exactly? We are at war with Russia? No, it's a make-believe by these guys and their leaders. Who are the leaders? The guys who get them elected. Not you through your baboon vote. Don't get fooled by that one. So let's see. A report about Ukrainian children being trained for war in military-style boot camps, which I'm okay with that, on Thursday featured children as young as 10 learning to shoot military-grade weapons, provide first aid, and train in hand-to-hand combat. Ukrainians realize the war may continue for many years and they want to be prepared. Today's children may just be tomorrow's soldiers, Deutsche Welle reported. And here is the picture. Right there. Now, I don't know if this necessarily should be considered. I don't see anything underneath. It's just an imperial eagle. It doesn't mean that the Nazis own it forever and ever as a Roman salute. There's some people say, the Roman salute actually was never been there. Well, why don't you look at the art and you're going to find people expressing it. And not, it's only in the, in the 18th century in paintings, 19th centuries. All right, then if it was 19th century, I think it's earlier than 20th century. So why should those guys own it for about what? 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s? Why? Because they own it. 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 They about 25 years. They own something that we have for at least a few hundred years, if not for centuries. Don't let them make your history and your culture. They should make theirs. I know, with the goats, with the hooves. They should make theirs over there, with a burning bush. That's what. Let them have their own, and let us have our Greco-Roman civilization intact. So, my friends, the imperial eagle right there. I mean, it looks very much, but I personally don't care, just so you know. Because if, let's say, Stalin or Adolf or Moses wore this color shirt, it doesn't mean that, I should never wear it. They wore shoes after, I don't know, Moses, because his civilization invented, culture invented, but they had writing, I think they had. So let's call it a civilization copy. So, it doesn't mean that if Hitler or Moses used a pen or something, we should not use that. That's imbecilic. But this is the level. So the Ukrainians' military camps are okay. The Russian indoctrination is not okay. But the Americans, the UK, which is United Kingdom, is a failed state. You want to see that. The people are being gone, taken away, and other people will be used by the same elites. After a while, these guys will overthrow the current elites and they will take over. And once they take over, they're going to take over your arsenal, military arsenal. What do you think they will do first thing after that? They will look at people who abuse them or nations. And then what do you think they will do? Payback. You don't believe me? Well, that's what we humans do. If you don't do that, you are weak. But I don't think the newcomers are weak. Why? Passion. They're very passionate. Some of them are willing to die for their ideologies or their beliefs. These guys in Great Britain, not really, not much so. Why? Indoctrination. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.